Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher and Jason Craze. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Hey, what's happening, guys?
Just another week, another 40K book. It's about to be the theme of our fall/winter, question mark?
What?
I don't know. Just 10 books coming out.
10 books?
10 books. Well, I guess 8. We know 2 of them going to be next week.
Are we live?
Back to back. Yeah.
I don't believe you.
True story, bro. True story.
Well, a lot has happened, obviously, since last week. We're Bay Area Open. We have a new champion who's actually the same champion as the last time there was a champion.
Of the BAO.
In BAO. So that's pretty exciting. Anytime this happens, that makes me happy because that means dudes are proving their skills across editions.
Oh, yeah. There's definitely something to be said for that. Like, if you can bring it in 7th edition and 8th edition, shoot, we were just talking about Navetti, bringing it since like 5th edition, basically. Like, I mean, that's just.
Big shout out to Nick Navetti, obviously 5th, 6th, and 7th edition Adepticon championship winner. And now we got this dude and what's his name? Brandon Grant, I believe.
Grant.
Don't see him at a lot of. I see him around and I see him doing well a lot of places, but like I think this is his territory, right? Like this is his zone. Where
Some people just have that like home field advantage,
Like he just dick stomps people out here. And here it is, man. He did it again 2 years in a row. IG.
So we definitely got. Oh yeah, IG was definitely a switch up. We got a lot to talk about with that. Obviously, there's new Space Marines coming out this week. Space Marines coming out next week. Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, Grey Knights, paint sets, leading all up to I don't know.
New paint. I heard we had new paintbrushes coming out.
I don't know much about. Oh yeah. From that other company. What are they called? Bombsnail.com.
Bombsnail.com. Monkeysdoingit.com.
Not really.
Yeah, we've got the.
Actually, that link does work. In fact,
apparently it does now. Yeah.
He was so afraid of it the other night.
I don't click on things when I'm live because you never know like what's gonna happen.
Yep. The clickbait was real. We nearly got.
Jason's gonna put a corrupting link in your stream while you're live?
Not even a thing. He has no trust. He has no faith.
No one.
He trusts no one. It was so funny though because everybody was trying to get him to do it by the end of the night, and he was like, "Nope, dead to me. No, you don't even see it." Yeah, but we've got the paintbrushes. Should be showing up next week. Of course, we'll get it's all Kolinsky Sable brushes, a set of 5 with our brand on them that we've taken a long time in making. And as soon as they get here in our hands, we'll be popping them open, running them through some tests, shipping them off to you guys so you can do the same. And then as soon as we feel like they're good enough to go, they'll be up on the store and full sale.
Nice. What's that website again?
Monkeysdoingit.com.
Okay, good.
Slowfusegaming.com. But monkeysdoingit.com will get you there.
It will get you there. I have seen it.
So good.
Oh my gosh. So we got that. We got some BAO talk. And of course, title of the episode, What's New in the Space Marine Codex? Wait.
That's not the title, but we'll go with it.
What's my line again?
The Space Marines and things and stuff.
Remember that time I couldn't do the intro?
That was today. Intro. That just happened.
Nah, not a real thing. It was brutal.
You don't trust me, but I have faith in you, Rob.
Glad somebody does.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Juice not here, and neither is Haspel. They got things going on in their life that kept them away from this podcast. But they will hopefully be with us by next Wednesday with all new tales to tell.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah. I don't even think people know what that means anymore.
Oh, probably not.
That's as a colloquialism. That's
like a 60s colloquialism.
It must be old.
50-50.
So do it. Tabletop Marketplace. What do we got?
It's coming out this week in tabletop Wargaming. We've got let's see, what is this week? I don't even know where we at. Oh, this week is the new Repressor floaty tank. For $80 US, a mere $80 US.
The technical term, floaty tank.
Floaty tank. The Apothecary and the Chaplain, both of Primaris variety, both $35 US. Dun dun dun. Clan pack, hotness.
Amazing looking models, by the way.
Yeah, they definitely look good. Like I love
that Chaplain is a beast, bro. I mean, the Librarian too, obviously, but damn, that Chaplain's scary.
I definitely have to admit the Chaplain gets my juices going more. Always been a big Chaplain fan.
Somebody's going to convert him to look like Skeletor. I know it. I'm interested to see how the Repressor kind of, or not. I know I'm saying it wrong. Goes together because love me some tanks. Can't wait to see like how
you like them floaty tanks.
I love them. I love them floaty tanks. How detailed it is. If there's interior compartments. If things flip out. Whatever. $80, something better flip out. Believe that.
Believe that. Gotta get some flippies.
The next week, or going on pre-order this week for delivery next week, is of course Haspel is in here, so I can't make fun of him. But we've got the Chaos Space Marine Codex, a mere $40 compared to the $50 Space Marine Codex that came out. So we got Chaos Space Marine Codex $40, Grey Knight Codex $40, both data cards for them for $15 each. There's an Ultramarine paint set coming out for $15, a Intercessor and paint set for $35, and some Citadel Essentials something for $35. I think it's you get little clippers and such kind of type deal. Finally for those folks there.
Hey, Rob, I think when does that And They Should Know No Fear come out?
What do you mean
the box set?
The box set's out.
Oh, it's already out. I'm like, because I've been waiting for that to hit the shelves. You mean it's just sold out?
I don't think so. I think it's around. It's just a half Dark Imperium without the rule book and a couple extra characters and units. Something else coming out or going on pre-order for next week is Grandmaster Valdis. So that was one of the three out of the Triumvirate minus Cypher and Guilliman. He's coming out separately.
Oh shit.
With the Grey Knight release. And then we've got two multi-part kits, the Primaris Intercessors and the Primaris Hellblasters, with all sorts of new multi-part options. But they are $60 each US. So all those miniatures that come in the Dark Imperium and the No Fear box are definitely starting to look a little better right now. A little bit more affordable, if you know what I mean. Stuff's
classic GW. We saw this coming.
Yep. I'm not surprised. Are you surprised? Nope, not even a little bit. So that is pretty much what's coming out. I don't know if there's anything else on the independent games front as far as other miniatures. We don't have. I mean, we got some stuff from FFG. They got Latari Elves coming out for Rune Wars. Don't really have anything on the X-Wing or the Armada front. As far as I know, so I'm not really tracking anything else right now that's gonna take the summer by storm or anything like that. I guess it will be week 2 of the GW Online campaign as well here coming out. Actually, I think they should be putting a new mission up today, I think, or maybe tomorrow. Was it the 27th? 27th of last week. So
Konar, yeah.
Konar came out 27th. Yeah, so it came out Thursday of last week. So tomorrow, which by the time you're hearing this will probably be Thursday already, but the mission 2 will be out for the week if you're participating in that. And speaking of participating, Bay Area Open was this weekend, and we saw the champion from last year, Brandon Grant, taking it down with the IG.
Wait, he didn't do it with the new Chaos Space Marine Codex?
That is now, yeah, probably not.
I mean, it's back. Imperial Guard, they were a great army for historically through many editions, right? I mean, 5th edition, they got the biggest power, creep that they ever had. They were definitely contenders in 3rd, contenders in 4th. They have had the elements of their army got allied into super forces all over the world in 6th and 7th edition. But here it is, man. It's classic gangster Imperial Guard army. Just like when you think of IG and you're like big ass cannons, conscripts, commissars, elite drop troops, Toroxes now, like the new heat, astropaths, you know what I mean? Like literally a army full of cool ass historic IG elements crushing, like dick stomping people.
Yeah, I mean, the appeal to that, and we talked about it in the pregame here, was that it's, it's very themey. It's like your typical combined arms. Like you have all those sort of elements, maybe not the astropath. You got a grimdark flare on it, but it's all those elements that really go together, and obviously they're very they work in a well-oiled manner on the tabletop and gives you lots of options and things. There was mortars in there too, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he still had 8-ish tank chassis, like still had a lot of hardware, had a lot of bodies, had elite elements, had horde elements, tar pit elements. I mean, it was pretty strong, and he was running double battalion. So he had a shitload of command points right there. Then he also had a spirit detachment, which also gives him command points. So
yep.
like, what is that? Like
6, 9? No, 6. You get 3, so you get 9.
10, is that 10? Is that, you start with 3, right?
Yeah, I think it's 10. Somebody check our math there.
Yeah, so he had 10 command points. So
that's a respectable number.
That gives you opportunities all over the place to be aggressive, especially if you're trying to alpha strike people. It gives you some real aggressive alpha strike capabilities, just like some solid rerolls that you get to rely on the whole game. Dude was running Commander Yark. He had a couple of company commanders. He had a commissar. He had shitloads of conscripts. Had some mortars, only 2 units of them. Two heavy weapon squads with mortars. He had, and that's 1 battalion. It's like, so he's just like, yo, let's get that battalion out of the way. Let me get those 3 command points to make another battalion. He brought in some of those Tempestor primes. He brought in Tempestus command squads. He brought in more scions. So that's your whole drop element with plasma guns, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's really aggressive, does a lot of damage. And of course, he's got command rods in there, etc. So he's got like his little reroll bubbles and buffs and everything. He's got Torox primes, 3 of them, which with the Torox Gatling gun, which is super strong right now.
Just putting out so many shots, like ridiculous.
So many, and also a tough tank to deal with. That's 3 solid tank chassis right there. He's got a spearhead detachment. This is where he starts bringing the hardware, where he brings in that Primera Psyker, some astropaths, which is another cool buff aura. Has basilisks. He has 3 Earthshaker carriages, which are also essentially 3 more basilisks, right? So He's got a shitload of D6, D3. It's just D3 damage -2 rend attacks here.
So it's D6 shots, but you roll 2 dice and pick the highest. -2 damage.
-2 rend.
Yeah, -2 rend. Excuse me. D3 damage.
No, D3 damage is the shittiest kind, right? Outside of 1, but
yeah.
But that's not like, it's all about what he's using it for. Like, we brought this up. Like, he's got an astropath. He's got bubbles of no cover. So like, he's saying that you don't get this 2-up cover save, essentially the +1 cover over a 3-up armor. You don't get to sit back and enjoy a 4-up against me. I'm trying to just eliminate those 10 Marines in the pocket over there that are 200 inches away. And he's saying like, let me just make it rain 5 D6s with rerolls worth of hits. So I mean, he's cleaning up units in the backfield. He's destroying and crippling you with the primes. Meanwhile, you got to get through the meat of these billion conscripts that you can't really interact with because of commissars.
Right. And, having the ability to pick off and plink off those and being able to alpha strike with the Tempestus drops, you still have to set up more than 9 away or whatever. Fine. But having the ability to scare somebody with perhaps an alpha strike kind of scenario, make them start doing things differently, getting closer to each other, and then you basically start dictating the terms of battle, like the folks were saying. how he was setting up. He's like, all right, these guys are in reserve. They're dropping in. These guys are in reserve.
Yeah, no, that's something that people don't talk about because, like, obviously people talk about Alpha Strike, right? It's a problem. A lot of people are like, well, I don't mind going second because that's my build. Okay, yeah. We think about 50% of games are being dictated by the first turn, which is too many. So, but with this whole, I deploy first and I get to choose if I go first, being the controversy where now they're saying it's a roll off still and you only have a +1, which is not even remotely guaranteed, as you know. So what's happening here is he has an army that has multiple deep striking elements. So he has tons of things in reinforcement, right? Or off the table. But the way the game works is when you alternate deployment, each time you say this is going to deep strike, that counts as a deployment. So he gets to do that like 6 times. It looks like roughly. So you had to put down like 6 elements in your army before he even begins to put down conscript blobs. And he's building a bubble that finally, when he starts putting his hardware down, it's in the best possible way to mess with you.
Yeah, I think this army, and I've said it before, with the way that shooting is so ridiculously almost OP right now because saves are so soft, in my opinion, that having the ability to future-proof your army by either not going first or second, but then also disrupting your opponent and making him make such difficult choices at setup, like we saw with 3rd and 4th edition back in the day. You could win the game off deployment in 3rd.
And that's literally that's the simplest fix in the world. You simply just write in an FAQ and you state that any models that are intended to be held in reserve must be deployed last.
That's true.
Or announced at the end of your deployment.
That's a classy fix, Jason, because
it's all it is it's words. It changes nothing on any stat cards or anything like that. It's just a simple FAQ. If you're holding units in reserve, they must be deployed last.
Yes, that's simple because that fixes. We don't want
everything.
Them. It fixes everything.
Well, it doesn't fix everything. It doesn't fix the same, go first, play first, go first. But it makes this not a compounding issue on top.
If you're gonna play plus a simple +1 instead of an auto choose, if that's going to be the rule, which might end up being the actual rule because GW is looking at all these events and everything, that might be the real rule soon, not just a house rule.
Right.
If that's the way it's going to lean, what Jason just said is for sure the classiest fix.
But then again, that might just be, to borrow a term I'm sure well aware of. It's just like putting lipstick on a pig. Like, it doesn't change the fact that saves are so freaking soft in this game, and going first is such a huge advantage.
This army, like you were saying, like this army cripples you. But what I love about it is all this indirect fire.
Yeah,
right?
You're not going to be able to hide. They're going to be able to pick off.
So even my fix, but like we were preaching a terrain fix. Terrain, like the whole concept of shoot in and into and out of terrain, but not through it, with using keywords to block line of sight. I still preach that as a major fix here because even with all these scions and everything, with an intelligent deployment and 9-inch bubbles, you're still going to be able to use terrain to keep the scions from targeting the units you don't want them to target if you get a much better terrain word, right? Like
Agreed.
you can't see through this to shoot keyword X. That's huge. But he still gets to use his mortars to try to interact with those, but the mortars are not nearly as powerful as the plasmas, right? the hugeness of overpowered plasma's Ren and the reliability of it's always doing 2 damage is pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Plasma strong. So, I mean, like, there's only a couple things. I don't have a problem with a list like this, dick stomping people, though. Like, to me, this is creative. Like, I like this. Like, it is a very cool IG list. It's not 5 Storm Ravens, 9 Crimson Hunters, Like, it is OG guard. Now, you can change it. Like, he's like, oh, but he's spamming Basilisk. Like, well.
I mean, he takes a squadron of 3. It's not really spam.
It's IG are authorized to do this. They always have been. That's why they can take 3 in one slot. That's like their jam. They hit you with all of it.
I feel like anything that's air quotes spammy about this list is spammy but spam as intended. Like conscripts.
Yeah, I like that. This is spam as intended. Yeah, if you give me a unit like conscripts, that is intended to be tons of them, right?
Yeah.
Like this is spam as intended. Yes, you're right. It's spam. He has taken as he has masked like units that are effective.
Well, you could make the argument on the 3 Toroxes with the 3 drop-in dudes. You could make the argument on that, but that's the only argument that you could say.
Well, he has spammed conscripts to a manageable degree, right? 120 of them, it looks like.
It is 120.
He spammed them. That's a lot, but that's not 580 wounds or whatever that like Razor flock was.
No.
Right, so he's got 120 wounds there. He has spammed things that can drop. He has 3 command squads that can drop, 3 troop squads that can drop. That's 6, and he's got the primes, and then the Torox primes. Like, there's definitely a Tempestus spam element there, and he has spammed 5 Earthshaker cannons for sure. But spam is intended. This is thematic. I'm with this list. Like, I love it. I'm 100% happy. But let's talk about the controversy. The controversy was motherfucking games weren't getting finished still in its 8th edition.
Yeah, and I think that's a little embarrassing, to be honest. Like, Games Workshop said, this is the game we want. You're going to play it faster, et cetera, et cetera. So they're like, hey, you could play, what was it, a 1,500 point game in an hour and a half. So why are we taking 2.5 hours to play 2K games? Like, come on. What's going on?
I mean, no, we should be taking 2.5 hours to play a 2K game, but not 3 turns of a 2K game.
No, exactly. That's what I'm, okay.
That seems like that's the issue.
3 and 4 turns should not still be happening in 8th edition when the whole point of this was to play faster.
I'd like to see a tournament, a major event, before I convict someone of a crime. Like, a crime has now been committed, but I need to see a trend before, like, I have to implement some hardcore, like, new laws to stop, to get these gang members off the streets. You know what I mean? And right now, I want to see this happen again at an event that uses GW book missions. If the same thing happens at the same level of competition, then I think something needs to get talked about, because I think that partially the ITC missions promote slow play, not as in that's intended as a tactic, but there's so much. It's like you remember playing Battleship?
Yeah, it's like you got to check down, you got to look at what you hit before, and then you got to like formulate, and then you got to look back. And
where you're tracking each other, you're tracking the bottom part, you're tracking the hit, like what he's doing. He's tracking what he's doing. You're tracking what you're doing, and he's tracking what you're doing. That is exactly how you play ITC missions at the high level. So It's hard to use speed tactics. Like, my man, did you see that hilarious Facebook Live video by Sean Aiden?
Oh, I did not.
He had a great video where he was talking about speed rolling. And he was hilarious. He was like, first you take the box, cut a hole in the box.
Yeah.
And he made he showed you with all these cups and everything, how he made a speed rolling box. He's like, for, things like Razor Flag and stuff. And he's like, and then in your opponent's turn, you're categorizing your dice and everything, right? So that way you're not so that way when it's back to your turn and you're rolling dice, it's already good to go again. And I was like, that is a classic speed play style, which is actually really hard to do in ITC, because the whole time you're having to track what your opponent's trying to do to formulate your plan. It's not a simple matter of let your opponent do everything he's going to do, because you have to constantly be in response to his maelstrom rolls, because of the way it works, where you don't score the maelstrom until you roll again. So it's so hard to be detached from the game when it's not your turn to roll dice or make moves. I've always had this complaint. I think the missions are very well written. I think the concept is very strong. I think the implementation has shown that and now we have sort of empirical evidence. Oh, it's 8th edition's fault, guys. 8th edition is so complex. That's why the clock is running out. Well, now we're in 8th edition where there's 2 pages of rules.
We know 8th edition should play faster.
And so the commonality, the common link here is the mission. The missions are spreadsheets. I think that's an issue. I think I would love to see what happens if you're playing like 5 objectives on the table, you score them at the end of the game, first blood, line breaker, warlord. Let's see what happens. Let's get that going real quick. Just one time. If everyone's going 3 turns again, all right, GW, game still take forever to play.
I imagine we're going to see some changes, in the near future. Like, I definitely suggested that they check themselves on didn't drop in the FAQs as much, bring themselves a little bit more in line with the way FFG and Wizards does it, on a preset basis for the most part, that I think will be better, even setting it up in a manageable box based around GTs, major GTs themselves, which there's basically like 4 a year at this point, I think. I think that would definitely help out a lot instead of just doing this, what seems to be in some people's eyes a knee-jerk reaction to a lot of things. But then again, maybe that was needed after ATCs.
I mean, to address also what some people are saying though, like the game is like based on extremes right now. Like a lot of games that Bay Area Open were over in 2 turns.
That's true too.
Right. So that's a fact, right? So I don't like a game that only goes 2 turns where the guy's like, well, there's no reason to keep playing this. It's over. Like that's also not a good game.
Yeah.
That's not a good competitive feeling. But then at the high end, to have games only go 3 turns is the same bad feeling. But what we are reporting on competitive match play at the highest level. This might not be the experience that other people are having,
That's true. I mean, I know locally there's a couple of leagues popping off and you don't really see people playing with these kind of lists, and the games are going pretty quick, even at the 2K level. So again, we're only reporting on the top of the hobby pyramid, maybe not so much the middle and the back nines, or the casuals are doing casual things, not bringing 5 and 6 Storm Ravens.
Casual people doing casual things. I like that. Casuals this weekend.
All casual all the time.
I love it.
You talk like that for about 30 more seconds.
Slow fuse. This is my announcer voice.
I'm done. Thanks.
Got him. What do you say we take a quick break, come back, talk about some chaos? We got a list here. Another top-notch player that we're all familiar with. We've already talked about. Hit up some quick chaos real quick before we start talking about those loyalists, those lapdogs, the Corpse Emperor.
Veterans, I've got news for you. Get your best deals online at dicehead.com. Long War Vets, call or email for your best vet deals. That's dicehead.com.
Dear veterans, quickly, make your way to thelongwar.net and find out how to reap your hard-earned spoils of this long war. For our allies at secretweaponsminiatures.com have rewarded us all with an extra 10% discount on all Secret Weapon Miniatures merchandise. So stock up, dear veterans, and enjoy.
elricshobbies.com is your exclusive portal to upgrading your hobby. When you sign up at thelongwar.net, you gain an instant promotional discount good for 10% off at Elric's Hobbies. elricshobbies.com.
All right, and we're back. So this week, there has been a lot of previews about Chaos. Don't ask me where the Grey Knight previews are. I think they're in the White Dwarf. Maybe we'll see one tomorrow. No, we're going to see World Eaters tomorrow.
Low blow.
Yeah, I know. It's brutal. Good thing Haspel isn't here.
Mike Haspel would literally be, what is it? The Dead Sea, the saltiest place on earth next to your bitch ass.
Sisters players and Mike Haspel, which I guess he's technically a sister player too. Dun, dun, dun. So we've seen a few things like the Slaneshi traits were all, hey, we're going to strike first in combat, very similar to what the demons were, the demon abilities, if ties and there's tiebreakers and all sorts of things. But there wasn't a lot of flash in it, to be honest. There really wasn't. I was reading through and I was like, man, I got to see more. I'm not razzle dazzled by this Emperor's Children list here. Then the next day it was Iron Warriors, of course. A legion of Chaos Space Marines that are near and dear to my heart.
Very near and dear to the Robbie B way of life.
Yep.
Iron within, iron without. That's get that tattooed on his stomach.
Yeah, I mean, that's how hardcore I am, pretty much. I think everybody knows it.
I'm afraid of you.
Yeah. Well played. They seemed okay. They got something that the Imperial Fists have where, they get a bonus to attacking things that are in fortification or buildings or whatever it is. And I'm like, meh, it's kind of unimaginative, but it's kind of been their thing going
that
back.
Was on the list of last week when we were reporting.
But they did have a dope piece of war gear. They gave a unit a 2-up save, and I think he got, it will not die, get to reroll and get wounds back. And they said, hey, put this on your Demon Prince. And I was like, all right, that's cool.
2-up save Demon Prince is cool if 2-up saves fucking mattered. Like, I would do the erection in 7th edition for a 2-up save Demon Prince.
Oh yeah. Like, but then on their Facebook, they actually dropped one of the stratagems, aptly named Iron Within, Iron Without, that I don't think a lot of people saw. But let's read that real quick. Use the stratagem when an Iron Warriors unit loses a wound. Roll a d6 for that wound, and for each wound lost by that unit for the rest of the phase, on a 6, that wound is not lost for 1 command point.
That is awful. What?
Yeah.
Wait, you're saying I have a fake 6-up Feel No Pain that I have to burn a command point for?
Yep.
God, okay, I get it now. Did you guys see that they were hiring a rules writer, right?
I did. I saw that on Facebook.
You see that they put that out there, right? They're looking for someone in Nottingham to be part of the rules writing team. Obviously, I applied. First, I put it out on Facebook. I was like, you guys think I should do it? Well, some people said I should, so I did. So I put a real classy application in. I had to glaze over some things because they were like, they want me in Nottingham, so I had to fill out the survey. I just put it in Hollywood.
Close. It's close enough.
No other the same place.
No other details for my address. Just go to Hollywood, ask for Kenny. They'll know, right? and then under for the resume, I just uploaded my Twitch profile picture. So I was like, hey, I swear to God, you listening right now, I know you IGW for free. Don't have to pay me. I'll sign a piece of paper because I could have told you weeks ago that was the stupidest thing I ever fucking read. Burn a command point for a fake ass 6-up Feel No Pain. I would have told you just like that when you sent me the NDA spreadsheet of rules that you were thinking of passing through, because I don't even need to write them. I just tell you if it's going to work or not. That was a literal waste of energy to have written that down. So bad.
So bad. Yeah, so they put that out and meh. I don't know. Still kind of meh. But then we saw the Night Lords, who traditionally have also been kind of meh. Their whole rules existence, I guess, at least. There
was one time where they didn't suck. Back when you can summon Furies and still assault when you summon them.
Yeah, but that was very short-lived.
It was like fourth edition for like a week. Yeah,
sliding into 5th, yeah. So their tactic, Legion trait rather, models in this unit must subtract 1. Models and enemy units subtract 1 from leadership for each unit with this trait that is within 6 of theirs to a maximum of -3. So, yeah, okay, all right. They might drop in and
that's useful.
Do some stuff. Okay, cool.
Now, who gets that rule?
That's all Night Lords keyword models.
So if your Legion is Night Lord, you gain that ability.
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Now, have we seen what the Night Lord's army list is? I'm assuming they could take Helldrakes.
Not sure yet, but they talked about Raptors.
Because Helldrakes seem Night Lordsy, if you ask me. Like, let me put it this way: if you can take that on Helldrakes, right? Helldrakes that can go 30 inches and all exude this -1 leadership bubble reliably on turn 1. So now you can say like all these enemies are -3 because that's the maximum. Like because I love Helldrakes. I love their current rules. That's turn 1. That's turn 1 charges. That's turn 1 Bale Flamers. That's putting wounds where you need to put them. And you can just do math on your fingers and toes and factor in the -3 that you've given everyone and try to figure out like what's the minimum amount of wounds you need to do to each one of these units to clean them up in the morale phase. I find that to be very powerful.
Yeah. Then they've got a piece of war gear, I'm assuming.
Oh, it only applies to infantry? Is this their early?
Oh, well, yeah. Okay, excuse me. So all Legion traits and things like that, always infantry, dreadnoughts, and
so Legion traits are chapter tactics.
Right, they're going to be chapter tactics. Basically.
They're going to be chapter tactics. Okay, so
they haven't come out and said that, but I would just imagine that.
All right, so cool, makes sense. So the Helldrakes will only work in assistance, but that's definitely not going to be the main heat. And what's the radius on that? You said it was 12 inches or 6 inches?
6 inches.
So it doesn't work when you deep strike, but you're going to try to assault after the deep strike. All right, I see. It don't matter. It don't matter at some point in the game.
Then there's an icon, and I'm not sure. They don't really say what the icons are or what if they're a piece of war gear or something like that you can just arbitrarily take.
Icons are outlined in the indexes, so there are places for them. They're not. You can't take them everywhere, but
right.
If the people do have access to them.
Yep. But we don't know if that's going to change. Sorry, is what I should have prefaced it with. So they're saying that 3 units of Raptors equipped with Icons of Despair can knock enemy leadership down by 5 whole points. So I'm not sure if that is a double stack kind of type thing. They don't really get into it, but I mean, reducing anything's leadership by 5 is pretty ridiculous. It means your enemy's going to be picking up units if you force that check. I feel like that's pretty powerful. Like there's something to that one.
-5 is strong. That means you can be really smart. Like if you have a good mix, if you have those elements that can put the -5 down where it needs to be, and then you have some kind of reliable, decent type of shooting in the backfield that lets you say, I'm going to do this many casualties to that unit, this many casualties to that unit, saying the same kind of thing we were talking about before with the Helldrake, you can really cripple some people. Unless they have commissars, but I mean.
Well, I mean, there's a answer to everything there. They also previewed one of the new psychic powers, number 5. It's called Diabolic Strength. A warp charge value of 6 is manifested. Select Heretic Astartes model in 12 until the start of your next psychic phase. Add 2 to model strength and 1 to its attack. Which has a
when you add the strength in this game, you add the strength and then you multiply, right?
I am not sure. I'd have to look at the rule book to see.
I feel like there's a section in there.
There is a specific
poorly
section.
written, but off the top of my head, I feel like it's the gangster way.
Now,
but either way is good.
Yeah, no, there is. There's also another ability that looks pretty cool. Like it's the whole gift of foresight that Conrad Kurz. Once per battle round, you can reroll a single to hit, wound, roll, damage roll, advance roll, charge roll, or saving throw for your warlord. So that might be something to definitely keep in mind. We all know how we like those rerolls. I guess they're saying the order of operations for normal math.
So it's like it's literally multiplication before addition.
I mean, it makes sense. I'm not sure. I don't have I have all my books besides my rule book close to me.
Either way, I mean,
there's another piece of war gear. We could just keep going on and on and on. But I think the one that is definitely worth talking about is for 1 command point. Well, maybe not definitely. 1 command point, you can pop a stratagem that for the rest of the phase, your opponent must subtract 1 to all hit rolls for that target. But here's the thing is you declare this stratagem after your opponent has already said, hey, I'm going to shoot you. So,
so you can fuck them.
Right. So it's targeted by a shooting attack. For the rest of the phase, your opponent must subtract 1 from all hit rolls that target that unit. So, they're saying in this breakdown here that, oh, crap, now if I'm subtracting 1, if I roll a 2, that's basically a 1. And if people are trying to like overheat their plasmas, well, we all know how that might go. So there's definitely an order of operations to the way things are.
You can overheat people's plasma with it.
Because
as far as I am aware, like so the modifier is after the reroll, right?
Modifiers are after the reroll. Yes.
So most plasma people are shooting with rerolls anyway, right?
Right.
So they're gonna take all their 1s and 2s because those are the only ones that miss so far.
If they can get it, if they can get a reroll on a 2, sure.
Or if they can get a reroll too, but I think isn't that what? Or if they can get. But anyway, So all the 2s are going to ride. Then they're going to flip all their 1s in any more Tuesday roll -1. I think that's clear as day. You overheated, dog.
Yeah, now you're going to overheat. And now you're going to be like, oh, well, I just thought I was going to play the odds here and maybe lose the guy. No, you might pick up your whole 5-man, 10-man squad and just spin that plasma.
As far as I'm concerned, -1 is applied. Now what's the result? 1.
Yeah, now all those 2s just became 1s, dog.
Like, I'm with it. I hope GW lets that one ride.
I mean, that's literally what they said in their.
Oh, GW said that shit?
Yeah, they're like, yo, this is good and this is why. And I was like,
oh shit.
Yeah, they literally said that.
Oh shit.
So, there's a counter there, and obviously it works against plasma born by vehicles too. But just keep that stuff in mind. Well, that's basically the wrap up tomorrow, or I guess by the time you guys hear this, it will be, I think, World Eaters. It's going to be the big one. So that's fingers crossed. Corn doesn't suck. For sure.
Corn doesn't suck?
I hope so.
What about the 1,000? You got to talk about the 1,000 sun second power.
Well, that was preview with the Iron Warriors. Hold on, let me pull it up so I get the exact terminology.
This is the heater right here.
Yeah, I suppose it is. It's probably one of the best things that's been previewed so far. Definitely a top 3, but there's only been 3 articles. So
remember, I try to stay organic. Everything you just told me is news to me, except I already found this one got through my Facebook feed.
Well, I know a lot of people were talking about it.
Yo, +1 invulnerable save. Is that? I believe that's what it is.
So Weaver of Fate, warp charge value of 6 if manifested, selected viable. Tzeentch, Heretic Astartes unit within 18 until the start of your next psychic phase. You can add 1 to any invulnerable saves taken for that unit. And any that don't automatically get 5 up invulnerable.
Wait, it's Tzeentch. That's Tzeentch. Right. It's not 1,000 Suns. Even better. Oh my God. All you need is the Tzeentch keyword.
Mm-hmm.
Dog, that is so beast. First off, Magnus. Like, that's the obvious play, right? Magnus, warp time. And what's the name of this one?
Weaver of Fates.
Weaver of Fates. So now Magnus is 3 up and bottom of reroll 1s. That's serious business, okay? That's just horrible to deal with. But later on, he can sling it to like a Helldrake that has Tzeentch or a Mauler Fiend that has Tzeentch. And now they have 4 invulnerables. They're like, you're like, yo, Helldrake, I need you not to die right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it's got a lot of play. That power, best chaos power right now. Besides warp time. Both.
Yeah, that one's balling. There's gonna be some play on that one for sure. So, but that's your chaos roundup for this week. Of course, book will go on sale this weekend, and then we'll see it released next week, actually in people's hands some point next week. Should be pretty dope. We say we talk about them loyalist Space Marines. Dun dun dun.
Knights of the Corpus Emperor.
I mean, Knights of the making GW money.
The Corpse God.
You mad, bro?
Nah, I'm just saying. Hey, we're going to put on a new release of rules. All right, let's make some Space Marines.
GW has got the eats too, man.
They do. They do. So first off, let me read some stuff. We talked about this in the webcast. There's been a lot of confusion going around about Index Imperium 1 units that were in that, but not in the Codex Space Marines themselves. And Games Workshop actually said in what seems like an eternity ago, based on all the content that comes out from all the various sources, almost, deluge. A month ago is pretty much a million years ago in my mind. I have a hard time remembering everything. I'm like, that vaguely sounds familiar. Let me go look for it. But they actually put out a couple of, I guess you could say, well, it is an FAQ, so some key rulings or some points for folks to remember. And the first one was, and this is their Q&A themselves to themselves. I just bought Index Imperium 1. What should I do with it? And they answered themselves. You'll want to keep a hold of your Index. Codex Space Marines doesn't include rules for playing with Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Space Wolves, Death Watch, or Grey Knight armies. So you'll still need the Index Imperium 1 to play with those. You'll also need it for using some of the more unusual models, such as the 30th Anniversary Space Marine, the Legion of Damned, and the Terminus Ultra Land Raider. which all were on my list of 14 units that aren't in Space Marine Codex, right? And then they followed that up with there are a few options that are also missing in the Codex that appear in the index. Why is that? Does that mean that I can't use these models in my army anymore? And we're just going to skip to the meat and potatoes, and where it says certain dreadnought weapons that don't come in the box, or some characters on bikes, for example, that are no longer represented in the Citadel range. So that was their kind of explanation, which we also caught on to, that they slimmed it down. The stuff in the book is exactly as it comes out of the box or in the blister. Don't worry, though. You can still use all of these in your games. If you have these older models, in these instances, use the data sheet from the index and the most recent points published for the model in its weapons. Currently also in the index, but that doesn't necessarily mean, and we know a lot of things changed in the Chaos or the Space Marine Codex. They all still gain the army-wide bonuses for things like chapter tactics and can use Space Marine stratagems and the like. So venerable hero still fight in with the rest of your army. So obviously that's good news for a lot of players out there. They're like, yo, where's my XYZ? Because a lot of things are, quote, missing.
Well, nothing's missing. Data slates are data slates, like we've been saying. Got it. They exist. Unless told otherwise, play with them.
That's right. So let me run down a list of 14 things that you won't find in the new Space Marine Codex, but you will find one additional one. They invented a lieutenant, which I thought was pretty cool. We used
to have those back in the day.
Yep, sure did. So there's a lieutenant model now. He's not a Primaris. There's a Primaris lieutenant too. He's basically the same stat line as a captain. He's just one less wound attack and also one less leadership there. So not appearing in Codex Space Marine are Tyrannic War veterans, the Terminus Ultra, Marnius and Power Armor, Kana Moondraken, Legion and Dam Squad, Libby on bike, Tech Marine on bike, Apothecary on bike, Ancient on bike, Company Champion on bike, Veterans on bike, the Imperial Space Marine, the Rhino Primaris, and the Excelsior Land Raider, all only available rules-wise, or bulk of the rules, in Index Imperium 1. Ta-da.
So you mean, first off, I bought an Index Imperium 1, so it's not invalidated.
Still valid.
Still totally useful.
You can use it to play your Blood Angels army, too, and your Space Wolf army right now.
Tight. Okay, now Jason's a new player. He says, I want to go play Space Marines. He still has to buy 2 books.
Yep.
I guess, yeah. I mean, there's not a way, I guess so.
So what I love about it is that, first off, hey, the book still counts. So like, that's a huge gripe, right? Like, you're going to validate, I just gave you $20. No, you're good, bro. Oh, okay. But now the new guy, they still get to make their double money on. Right? So they should have just been doing this the whole fucking time. Get the fuck out of here.
You just give them carte blanche.
You just, what the hell? All your new guys still need both books, and all your old guys love you that much more. Oh, obviously there's like a comment in there. He's like, oh, Kenny, Space Marines? What? And I was like, no, obviously that was just fiction. That was for the sake of this discussion. I don't fucking own the Imperial Index 1. Like, get out of here. I have to ask Rob what's in that book. And
then you need me to read it to you too, I think.
And simultaneously read it to me. Because I can't.
And by the way, I need you to read it to me. All right. So there is some interesting changes in the book, though. Like I said, got the lieutenant, was really cool. There is a grenade launcher, 30-inch attachment, underslung grenade launcher for the Primaris dudes that can be fired 30 inches, but I think the normal grenade rules still apply. Now, personally, me, not even talking about changes and things in the new Space Marine Codex itself, I think it's probably one of the best written and also one of the largest codexes out there that I've ever written. Didn't have a lot of questions. I went through it. It was a very easy read. Everything's laid out beautifully, except for the fact you got to flip that back to get your points and everything. But we're dealing with that, baby steps. Everything was kind of where you expected it. I thought it was probably, I was going through it and prepping my videos and stuff. And I was like, wow, this is a lot easier. Like, this is so easy to understand. You know, the librarian powers are laid out. Everything's laid out well. And you don't have to like cross-reference with this rule. Okay, what's this rule do? Okay, what's that do? Oh, it's all right here in the same spot. So I only had a few minute questions, and that was just like basic rules, order of operation kind of type things. So I'm pretty impressed with this book, to be quite honest. I'm hoping Chaos is on par with this one right here. Let's talk about some stuff that's really dope. We all know about the chapter tactics by this point. I feel like they took some of the old detachment abilities, like remember the Vindicators, you could squat them up and make one super shot, stuff like that. That was in old detachments from the last book are now stratagem abilities, which I thought was pretty neat. The one I wanted to talk about was the ability for the Stern Guard to get +1 to their rolls to wound. Use a stratagem when a Stern Guard veteran squad is selected to attack in the shooting phase. You can add 1 to all rolls made for that unit's special shell bolt gun attacks to all wound rolls in that phase. So they have strength 4 guns that are rapid fire that shoot 30 inches base. So better than a bolter, obviously, right off the bat. Now you're getting an additional +1 to wound. So, you know, that puts you pretty decent on a elevated plane to wound light vehicles and infantry as if you were a way heavier weapon. You know what I mean? So I think having the command points at this point is almost a kind of must have to try to have as many command points as you can if this codex is the base for all codexes that are coming out, because there's so many combos and things here. You know, getting an orbital bombardment, maybe wanting to put the chapter master in your army. Did you see what the Shield Eternal actually does, Kenny?
Nope.
Okay, let me read that. It's actually better than we thought.
It's better than we thought. Oh my God. Please just.
It does replace a storm shield, so that's the only.
So 3 up invulnerable, step 1.
Where is it?
Step 1, get a box.
Cut a hole in the box.
Cut a hole in the box. Put some dice in a cup. Oh my goodness. Where is it? Oh, hold up.
I'm just going to make up the rules if you can't find them.
No, I want to hear your version. Very, very much interested. All right, I found it. The Shield Eternal replaces the model Storm Shield or Combat Shield. This relic grants the bearer a 3-up invulnerable, and any damage they suffer is halved, rounding up. So that's the actual wording, not the assumed wording. But I think it functions the same way.
If I mean, like from an instance, like if I say these 5 Space Marines are shooting you, 5 hits, 5 wounds, and somehow you fail 5 saves, you only, even though they're all 1 damage, you're taking 3 wounds.
Because that would be damage from a source because you rolled them in volleys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Real quick question on the subject of Shield Eternal, because it is, do we have a precedent already established in 8th edition for an FAQ like Gilliman and Abaddon? It is possible that the Shield Eternal sucks, but it is possible that the Shield Eternal is good. Page 4, bottom, fast rolling. Your opponent can then allocate the wounds 1 at a time, making the saving throws and suffering damage each time as appropriate. That is not what I want. Ugh. I guess you just, it's official. You just want it to be a shooting game. Stop writing stories about guys having sword fights then.
And all the pictures of all the armies are always like 5 feet away from each other, or not 5 feet, like 5 inches away from each other, like just to get it in the camera frame. Yeah. I mean, it obviously applies to multi-damage weapons at that point.
Do you spend? Is it free? Do you get to just?
It's free if you only take. It's free if you have a Space Marine Warlord,
which is.
You just say, "Hey, my Warlord's a Space Marine keyword guy." I guess.
It's free.
1 relic.
So I'm back to it's good again. I'm back to it's good again.
I mean, you could theoretically spend 1 command point and get an extra relic for another character via the stratagem.
What?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's just.
Well, as far as free relics go, it's one of the best relics again, because you still can put it on a dude with a jump pack.
I mean, yeah, technically it does cost points because you have to spend the points for the Storm Shield right off the bat.
No, it said a combat shield too. You can take a.
Oh yeah, combat shield. Yep.
Do you have to sidebar points for these kind of things? Like, what's like?
No, I mean you pay the points for the storm shield in the first place.
At what stage in the game do you decide you have these relics? You don't put these in your army list.
No, I don't think you do. But I don't know how the TOs are going to rule all this, though.
It's true. I mean, and that's where it's getting weird to me. So there's not even points in the codex for these things. Like, there's just not even like a point value for these where you can just take
the cost of the weapon that is being replaced. Write down any chapter relics your characters may have in your army roster. May have. I think for Age of Sigmar, they were just like they were not allowing you to sub out between matches. You just had to say, "Hey, my warlord has this."
I mean, the tournament. Yeah, I mean, the tournaments are going to be doing whatever they want.
And of course, we can fact check that up too. But I mean, maybe they'll allow you sidebar. I don't know.
I mean,
that'd be cool.
I hope so. I mean, that's not what AOS is doing at they did that at LVL, right? They had a sidebar.
Well, they had a sidebar like units
for like a format that for their tournament.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that come back to 40K.
Oh, it would be cool.
Like, I think because right now, like with Demonic Ritual, I'm always thinking about like how to make my own sidebar, right?
Yeah,
but I have to like summon these units, and it's kind of a headache, and it's not even guaranteed. Pretty good. So big ass derailing Shield Eternal discussion, but we came to the conclusion it sucks versus bolters, but it's good versus five guys surrounding you with bolters. Like the Shield Eternal is no different than the Storm Shield, but 5 guys surrounding you with melted guns, it's a whole new world. Well, we got to figure out ways to keep assault strong because the game's so shooting right now. And I think that the game is. I think that there are plays, like since obviously I gravitate toward close combat, I'm always thinking of ways to make it work. Now, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the ways that I use to keep it working are very. Hopefully I go first, which is an issue. There's a reason why I'm only playing Tzeentch Thousand Suns shit, like Tzeentch specifically, because of the Changeling. Like, it's the only thing I have to protect me, like as a Chaos player, from you going first. So like I'd like to see GW with this Chaos Codex hit me with a little bit more stuff, right? Because I don't want to have like just a Space Marine version of a Chaos army. Like Chaos is definitely, you think about it, is like more salty, more fast and crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to be able to. I mean, like, and obviously, it's been a long time since like Chaos has been like, yo, we can win games with Chaos, So I'm not asking for that. I'm just asking for like, give me a chance.
I think it's going to be a brave new world as soon as we get it in our hot little hands. Like, a lot of things are going to open up, and there was a lot of stuff in the Space Marine book we had no idea about until we saw it. So, and we're all still learning. We're all still kind of going through it. It's still a lot to digest. Nearly 2 months in. So we'll get there for sure.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be fresh, and it's going to be so changing, till Christmas. And then after, it's just every week it's going to be something new. It's going to be great. Very exciting. I'm super stoked.
I'm happy. Like, I'm like just literally constantly in the Beats Lab right now, working on 8th edition armies. I know even Jason said he's going to play eventually.
Grumble.
He might not.
Get off my grass.
Something has to happen that really makes it all appeal to me. And I don't know what that is. I don't know what defines that. I mean, I got a lot of models. I've got a really, neat selection of Imperial Guard stuff here that I accumulated that I could put together and build up that would be, nice. But I tend to build on, Rule of Cool, which generally lends itself more towards, fluffy than smash face. And so I, in the current state of the rules, I feel like they're not quite to where bulk of units are viable type gameplay yet. So in order for me to break enough stuff in and to commit to it, I'd have to feel like, that was a thing. Because I like playing in tournaments. I like going into...
Yeah, because for you, it's not a matter of like, well, I could just play casually in my basement. That just doesn't make you happy.
Yeah, I mean, every now and then it's fun to play, but no, I mean, I like to go out and play and have a good time just for the social aspect of nothing else. But nobody likes to go out and know they have no chance.
Yeah.
Right. And so as having to learn from the ground up, basically, again, you know, a lot of stuff is similar. A lot of stuff is not. The more and more I read, the more and more I'm like, well, you know, I like these, but I don't see myself going to a local tournament. There are some slow growth leagues going on that will be starting up here at the end of summer as school gets back in locally. It's not, you know, beyond me to, you know, to take part in something like that and to go where I can start building up, you know, from a warband size and start building up and see what I like about the rules, actually throw some dice, see what works, see what doesn't. But it would need to be something like that would get me going and get me motivated. Because right now there's just, you know, there's too many other games out there right now. So.
Yep. For real. Well, just keep an eye on it. That's all we can ask. Keep an eye on it.
That's all I'm doing, man.
Okay, good.
I just read word spam on freaking you know, conscript spam list. Jesus Christ, there's 4 million words or something in that thing. Read them all. Every single one.
Internet. Population words.
Population words.
Written to a 3rd grade level. All day, every day. Oh well. I think it's time to get out of here, guys. We went over at least
5 minutes.
Maybe 6.
5, maybe 6.
7. We always start late, so I feel like we owe it to everybody.
You know, like I was talking shit about that Shield Eternal, buddy. You give me a free Shield Eternal for my Chaos Army, I'll be like, it's the best thing on earth.
I'd like to rescind my previous statement.
Because I'm just so used to not getting anything cool.
Yes, we want the cool. Give us the cool. Give it to us, especially for Chaos. Yeah. Seriously, work on the Iron Warrior.
I'm pretty. Oh my God, for real. That is so disappointing. Like where it's like, yo, it's going to be so fresh, especially after Traitors Legions came out at the end of 7th edition. And they had some seriously strong stuff in there for.
Yeah, like the double tap guns and stuff.
Oh my God.
Double tap and triple tap.
They just had some strong shit, man. Like Iron Warrior's looking strong. You know, like, yo.
I actually painted up a Terminator.
Yeah, so you can fucking play. Like, I mean, God.
I was like, super. Crowning achievement of my Iron Warriors Terminator squad. Painted him up. And then I was like, man, never play with him. Wah, wah.
Yep, no, feel you. It is what it is. Mike Caspel, take us out.
Make sure to head on over to thelongwar.net. That's the home of the 8th edition battle reports for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today.